In a quiet town in Ohio, two white officers framed a black woman, unaware she was a CIA operative. The truth unraveled in court with a shocking twist. Late at night in the small town of Fairview, Ohio, the streets were silent. Two officers pulled over a black woman, accusing her of a crime she didn't commit. What should have been a routine stop spiraled into something sinister, a deliberate setup. But these officers didn't know their target wasn't just anyone. She was someone with the skills to dismantle their scheme entirely. This story takes a stunning turn, exposing a network of lies and corruption, culminating in a revelation so explosive it shook the Fairview Police Department to its core. The night was calm in Fairview. Streetlights flickered over empty sidewalks, and the occasional car zipped through the quiet roads. Lauren Hayes sat behind the wheel of her sleek black SUV, her hand steady as she drove through a suburban neighborhood. Glancing at her watch, she noted it was just past midnight. Her undercover assignment in this town was nearly complete, and she felt a quiet satisfaction. She had what she needed for a smooth exit. Approaching a deserted intersection, Lauren slowed, her sharp eyes catching the glint of a stop sign. Trained to notice details, she came to a complete stop, then turned left. Moments later, red and blue lights flashed in her rearview mirror, a siren piercing the stillness. Lauren's pulse stayed steady. She was built for moments like these. Her mind sharpened as she pulled over, turned off the engine, and reached for her license and registration. The patrol car stopped behind her, lights still flashing. Two officers stepped out, their movements calculated. The taller one, with a stern jaw and confident stride, approached first, followed by his shorter, heavier partner. Both wore Fairview police uniforms, their badges glinting under the streetlights. Lauren noted their names, Officer Michael Reed and Officer David Walsh. "Good evening, ma'am," Reed said, his voice firm. He leaned down, shining a flashlight into her window, the beam sweeping across her face and the car's interior. "Do you know why I pulled you over?" Lauren kept her expression neutral, meeting his gaze. "No, officer," she replied calmly. "I wasn't speeding, and I stopped at the sign." Reed's lips curled into a slight, condescending smile. "Actually, you didn't stop back there," he said. "That's a violation." Lauren's brow furrowed slightly, but she stayed composed. "I'm certain I stopped, officer," she said firmly. "License and registration," Reed cut in, his tone sharper. Lauren handed over the documents, her movements slow and deliberate to avoid escalation. Reed studied her license, his eyes lingering as if sizing her up. "Ohio plates, local address," he muttered, then louder. "You live around here?" Lauren nodded. "Yes." Walsh, who'd been circling her SUV, called out, "Hey, Reed, check this out." Reed handed back her papers and said, "Stay in the car," before joining Walsh at the trunk. Lauren watched them in her side mirror, her jaw tightening. Walsh pointed at something, his voice low and secretive. Reed nodded, and their shared glance sent a flicker of unease through her, not fear, but a trained instinct kicking in. Reed returned, his face grim. "Step out of the vehicle, ma'am." Lauren tilted her head. "May I ask why?" "We have reason to believe you're carrying illegal substances," Reed said, his tone clipped, almost rehearsed. Lauren's eyes narrowed. "Illegal substances," she repeated. "You're mistaken." "We'll see," Reed said, motioning for her to exit. Walsh stood by the trunk, a smug grin on his face. Lauren stepped out, her movements unhurried, as Walsh dramatically lifted the trunk to reveal a small, unmarked bag sitting prominently inside. "Well, look at that," Walsh said with mock surprise. "A bag of something suspicious." Lauren glanced at the bag, her face unreadable, but her mind raced. That bag wasn't there when she left home. She was certain. This was a setup. Reed smirked. "Anything you want to say?" Lauren's lips curved faintly, a calculated smile showing neither fear nor guilt. I'll save my comments for the right moment, she said. Reed chuckled, misreading her calm as arrogance. Oh, you'll get your chance. You're under arrest for possession with intent to distribute. As Walsh cuffed her, Lauren's gaze remained steady. You're making a big mistake, she said softly, her voice carrying a quiet intensity that made Walsh hesitate for a split second before securing the cuffs. Yeah, we'll see, Reed said, leading her to the squad car. Let's see how tough you are in court. As they drove away, Lauren stared out the window, already mapping her next steps. The officers thought they'd scored an easy win, but they had no idea who they were dealing with. The ride to the station was tense and silent, broken only by the hum of the engine and the crackle of the radio. Lauren sat in the back, hands cuffed, her expression neutral. Street lights cast fleeting shadows across her face, but her focus stayed sharp, replaying every detail. The non-existent stop sign, the officer's smugness, the planted bag. This wasn't random corruption. It was planned. Reed glanced at her in the rearview mirror, smirking. You don't look worried, he said, his tone mocking. Lauren met his eyes. Should I be? Reed laughed. You're either brave or foolish. I've seen plenty act tough, but it fades fast in a cell. Lauren said nothing. She knew men like Reed, abusing power, bending rules, expecting no consequences. For now, she let him think he was in charge. That illusion wouldn't last. The station was quiet when they arrived, night shift officers lounging with coffee. Reed and Walsh led Lauren inside, the fluorescent lights harsh on the scuffed floors and peeling walls. Big catch tonight, Reed announced loudly. The others looked up, curious. Walsh tossed the bag onto the counter with flair. Caught her red-handed, he said. More than just running signs. Lauren stayed silent, scanning the room. Cameras, desks, the officers' casual rapport. It was a small station, tight-knit, a place where secrets were kept. They took her to fingerprinting, where Reed uncuffed her. A younger officer with tired eyes hesitated as he processed her. Name? He asked, almost apologetic. Lauren Hayes, she replied evenly. Occupation? She paused briefly. Consultant, she said. Vague enough to pass, true enough to avoid lying. The young officer nodded, typing, his unease clear. Reed and Walsh, oblivious, laughed nearby, enjoying the moment. Having fun? Lauren asked, her voice cutting through their laughter. Both men faltered briefly. You've got a mouth, Reed said, his tone darkening. Let's see how funny you are after a night in lockup. Her cell was cold, the metal bench uncomfortable, the bars casting shadows on the concrete. The door slammed shut, echoing down the hall. Reed lingered, watching her. You don't look like someone who'd get mixed up in this, he said, almost curious. But don't worry, the courts love a sob story. Maybe they'll go easy. Lauren tilted her head, her gaze piercing. Or maybe they'll see through yours, she said, her voice calm but sharp. Reed muttered and left, leaving her alone. Lauren leaned against the wall, exhaling slowly. Her next moves had to be precise. She wasn't just fighting for herself. She was about to expose something bigger. The cell was quiet, broken only by the hum of the HVAC. Lauren waited, her patience honed from years in the field. Her team would notice her absence soon, and when they did, questions would follow. For now, she played the calm detainee, unremarkable, hiding nothing. But every moment was a chance to observe. Officers' footsteps, radio crackles, computer beeps. Details mattered. In the break room, Reed and Walsh sipped coffee, laughing. She thinks she's untouchable, Walsh said, shaking his head. Not even a hint of panic. That'll change, Reed replied, smirking. She's just a name in the system now. No one's digging deeper. They didn't notice the young officer, Ethan Parker, lingering nearby, pale and uneasy. Something felt wrong, but questioning seniors was risky in this station. He stayed quiet. In her cell, Lauren closed her eyes, breathing steady. Hours passed, but she didn't sleep. Every minute brought her closer to the reckoning. A storm was coming, and she was its calm center. Dawn filtered through the cell's narrow window, casting a dim glow. Lauren sat upright, eyes half closed, her mind alert. Sleep was a luxury she skipped on missions. The station stirred as day shift began, voices and footsteps filling the halls. She listened, noting patterns. A buzz signaled the cell block door opening, followed by boots echoing. Walsh appeared, clipboard in hand, smirking. "Morning, sunshine," he said mockingly. "Sleep well, or was the bench too rough?" Lauren met his gaze silently, her calm unnerving him. He shifted, glancing at his clipboard. "Bail hearings this afternoon," he said. "But between us, I wouldn't hold my breath. Judges here don't like drug traffickers." "Good to know," Lauren replied softly, her tone unshaken. Walsh frowned, his smirk fading, then muttered, "Enjoy breakfast," before leaving. Lauren leaned back, watching him go. Their cracks were showing. She just needed time. At the front desk, Officer Ethan Parker, a rookie fresh from the academy, watched Walsh stride off. Something about Lauren's arrest bugged him. She wasn't defiant or scared, just calm, too calm for someone facing trafficking charges. And that bag in her trunk? Too convenient, like it was placed there. Ethan hesitated, fingers over his keyboard. Questioning Reed and Walsh could end his career, but doubt gnawed at him. He glanced at the cell monitors. Lauren sat still, unreadable. Ethan bit his lip, resolve flickering. Lauren made her move. Her hands rested in her lap, but her eyes locked on the cell's outdated camera. She shifted subtly, pressing a tracker hidden in her jacket's hem, a CIA standard. With a faint click, it sent a silent signal to her team. She didn't need to explain. They'd act. In the break room, Reed and Walsh laughed over coffee. "She's probably thinking we'll crack," Reed said. "They always think they can talk their way out." "Yeah," Walsh chuckled. "This is a slam dunk. Drugs, report, no witnesses. She's done." Their laughter echoed, unaware of the storm building. In a Cleveland office, a phone buzzed. A calm voice answered. "Signal received. Location confirmed. Deploying." Lauren smiled faintly, sensing her team mobilizing. The officers had no idea what was coming. The station hummed with morning routines, reports, calls, coffee chats. For Reed and Walsh, it felt like a win. Lauren sat still, blending into the background, waiting for her moment. Her signal was sent hours ago, but her team wouldn't rush. Timing was key. At the desk, Ethan's eyes flicked to the monitors. Lauren's patience unnerved him. It wasn't normal. He pulled up her file. Straightforward license, address, but her job, independent consultant, had no details. Frowning, he glanced at Reed and Walsh, their ease making his stomach churn. Against his instincts, Ethan checked their arrest report. Failed to stop, nervous behavior, consented to search, drugs found. It was too clean, too scripted. His doubt grew. He paced near the cells, finally stopping outside Lauren's. "Ms. Hayes," he said quietly. She looked up, eyes sharp. "Yes." Ethan hesitated. "Did you really consent to the search?" Lauren studied him, seeing his doubt. "What do you think, Officer Parker?" she asked pointedly. Ethan swallowed. "I'm just doing my job," he stammered. "That's what they count on," Lauren said. "Men like Reed and Walsh need people like you to look away." Ethan flushed, retreating, but her words lingered. The seed was planted. In Cleveland, a black sedan parked outside a plain building. A suited man stepped out with 2 agents. "ETA on extraction?" one asked. The man checked his watch. "We wait for her signal. For now, we watch. In an ops room, monitors showed Lauren's cell and Ethan's agitation. The kid's cracking, an agent noted. Good, the man said. We'll use it. In the break room, Reed sipped coffee. See Parker today? He said. Kid looked spooked. Walsh shrugged. Rookies get jumpy. He won't do anything. Let's hope, Reed said, unease flickering. Tension rose as the day wore on. Lauren felt it. A shift in the air. Ethan paused outside her cell again. You said they count on people like me, he said quietly. What did you mean? You know what I mean, Lauren replied. The question is, what will you do? Ethan stared, then walked away, conflicted. In the ops room, the suited man watched Ethan leave. He's close, he said, smiling. One more push, and we flip this. Ethan sat at his desk, fingers drumming, staring at Lauren's file. Doubt turned to resolve. He waited until Reed and Walsh left, then slipped into the records room. Logging in, he searched their cases. Similar patterns, minor stops escalating to drug charges, mostly targeting minorities. His stomach twisted. In her cell, Lauren watched Ethan's shadow pass, his steps deliberate. She spoke softly. Officer Parker, you've seen something, haven't you? Something off. Ethan stopped, gripping the wall. What? He asked defensively. You know, Lauren said, her tone firm. I can't, Ethan said, voice catching. I'm just doing my job. And what's your job? Lauren pressed. To follow orders or do what's right? Ethan retreated, but her words stuck. At his desk, he stared at their case files, then opened a secure email, attaching records with a note. Something's wrong here. Please help. He hit send, heart pounding. In the break room, Reed leaned back. Parker's acting off, he said. Walsh shrugged. What's he gonna do, snitch? Keep an eye on him, Reed said, eyes narrowing. That afternoon, a black sedan pulled into the lot. Lauren's team, having intercepted Ethan's email, prepared. Make it clean, the leader said. Expose it from within. They stepped out, FBI badges gleaming. Lauren smiled as the station doors opened. She couldn't see them, but she knew her team was here. The storm had arrived. Silence fell as the agents entered, their suits crisp, badges shining. Ethan froze, heart racing. The lead agent, Daniel Price, leaned over the desk, speaking quietly. The sergeant straightened, wary. What's this about? Federal investigation, Price said. We need records and cell access now. The sergeant hesitated, then gestured. Follow me. Ethan watched, palms sweaty, knowing his email triggered this. Reed and Walsh's laughter stopped, replaced by tense whispers. Reed's eyes met Ethan's briefly, and Ethan looked away. The air grew heavy. Price and his team set up in an interrogation room, pulling files. Anything? Price asked. The tech agent nodded. Plenty. Identical reports. Procedural gaps. It's systemic. Price's jaw tightened. Pull everything. Lauren heard the activity, sensing her team's presence. The wait was over. She sat ready, faint red marks on her wrists from the cuffs, her focus sharp. Reed paced in the break room. This is about her, he hissed. You think they know? Walsh asked. Know what? Reed snapped, unconvincing. It's by the book. Sure, Walsh muttered. Price emerged, holding a folder of reports, and approached Reed and Walsh. We need to talk, he said sharply. Reed forced a smirk. What's this about? We've got nothing to hide. Good, Price said. Then you won't mind a few questions. The agents led them to interrogation, Reed's facade cracking, Walsh tense. Ethan watched, heart pounding. An agent opened Lauren's cell. Ms. Hayes, you're free, he said respectfully. Lauren stood smoothly, nodding, and walked out, the station's weight lifting. Passing Ethan's desk, their eyes met. He opened his mouth, but no words came. She stopped. "Thank you," she said quietly. Ethan nodded, gripping his desk, feeling purpose for the first time. In interrogation, Reed and Walsh sat stiffly. Price leaned forward. "Shall we start with the report or the planted evidence?" Walsh flinched. "We don't know what you're talking about," Reed said defiantly. Price slid over photos, security footage of them with the bag before the search. "These timestamps say otherwise," he said. "And we have audio from Ms. Hayes' device, discussing how easy it'd be to frame her." Walsh paled. "You can't use that," he stammered. "Entrapment." "No," Price said. "It's justice. Your past arrests, same patterns, all under review. You're done." Reed's bravado faded, Walsh crumbling. Ethan confirmed station processes earlier, feeling Reed and Walsh's glares. As Price returned, Ethan stood. "What now?" he asked. "We clean house," Price said. "You did right." Lauren watched Reed and Walsh let out in cuffs, their smugness gone. Price approached. "We've got what we need," he said. "You're done." "Good," Lauren said. "Make it stick." Outside, the air was crisp, the weight lifted, replaced by quiet satisfaction. Days later, the scandal dominated headlines. Reed and Walsh's arrests shocked Fairview. Charges against Lauren dropped. Their cases reopened. The station faced overhaul, resignations mounting. Ethan, now a whistleblower, faced mixed reactions but stood firm, knowing he'd done right. Weeks later, Lauren sat on a park bench, coffee in hand, autumn leaves falling. Price joined her. "You could have handled it differently," he said. Lauren smirked. "And miss their faces?" "No way." They sat in silence, the weight of their work fading. The storm had passed, but its ripples endured. The news exploded. Headlines like, "Police corruption busted," "FBI nabs Fairview cops." Reed and Walsh's cuffed images looped on TV, their arrogance gone. Lauren's name stayed out of reports, as planned, keeping focus on the corruption. She liked it that way. Results, not fame, mattered. In a federal detention center, Reed and Walsh met their lawyers, desperation replacing bravado. Charges piled up, falsifying reports, planting evidence. Pleas were their only shot. At the station, investigations exposed more officers, resignations followed, and the chief vowed reform. But the damage was done. Ethan met Lauren at a diner. "Didn't think you'd come," he said. "You earned it," she replied. "Not many would have done what you did." "I don't know if it changed anything," Ethan said. "The department's a mess." "It changed things for their victims," Lauren said. "And for you, that's enough." "What about you?" he asked. "I move on," she said. "There's always another fight." Months later, Reed and Walsh pleaded guilty, sentenced harshly, their careers ruined. Their false cases were overturned, freeing innocents. In her apartment, Lauren packed for her next mission, a dossier on the table. Price called. "Ready?" "Always," she said, stepping into the evening, the fight far from over. Justice prevailed, the corrupt faced consequences, and the woman they framed emerged stronger. This tale shows truth always breaks through lies.